Greetings, I am Toglin, Hell's Harlequin, but you may call me Tog. Today, I'm finally getting around to a video that was requested for quite some time. Why am I no longer a feminist? Everybody thinks I had this amazing red pill moment. For me, it was more of a disillusion. That's one of the reasons why I didn't bother making a video of it, because I figured it wasn't overtly interesting. But since it's been so highly requested, I guess I should start from the beginning. When I was in middle school, there was this girl who was very into feminism, at least at that age. You see, there's not too much of that nonsense up here where I'm from. A lot of the crazy SJW stuff and the feminism thing, I don't actually witness too much in person. It's more stuff I read about. But anyways, she told me that feminism was all about gender equality and men and women should be equal, then asked if I was a feminist, and I said, sure, that sounds good. So I was more a feminist in the passing, casual way. I don't think I drank too much of the feminist Kool-Aid. There's definitely some stuff I bought into when I look at some of the artwork and some of the stuff I wrote down when I was quite a bit younger. But nothing to any crazy extremes. On none of my profiles on any of the online sites I was on, like any of the art sites or other sites, did I ever even bother putting I was a feminist. It was more of something that if people asked if I was, I said, sure, yeah, I guess so. But one of the reasons why the ideology was so easy to get involved in is because, as I said before, I was the victim of a sexual assault. I have a video about that I'm going to link in the description. And I always just kind of figured that feminists had my back, you know. That's kind of how they promote themselves. Although, to be honest, a lot of the feminists I've met in real life are rather non-sympathetic about such things. Like a lot of them, you tell them that you were the victim of some sort of assault or rape or something, and they say, well, so are most women. They're actually weirdly dismissive. At least for my personal anecdotes. I started getting into Thunderfoot's videos quite a few years back. I'm not really going to divulge my personal religious preferences or philosophies, but I'm not necessarily an atheist. But I am rather pro-science. So I found his creationist ponage videos to be very entertaining. But then he started making anti-feminist videos. And I noticed myself weirdly hostile towards the concept. Like I said, I didn't really know too much about feminism or the basic ideology, but I always did feel like they at least had my back in some respect. So I just kind of felt a little hostile towards the concept. But then I started thinking about it and felt I was being ridiculous, because what would it hurt to at least watch and see what he had to say, because he was usually insightful on his other videos, and at least most of his points made some logical sense to them. So I started watching. I noticed I felt weirdly hostile watching the videos, even though I couldn't really argue with anything that it had to say. I think it was just simply a visceral reaction. And it actually got me to rethink a lot of the thoughts I had about victim blaming and whatnots in my own personal incident. And I realized that a lot of what they tell you is utter crap, even though I was essentially blamed for what happened by my mother. I realized that had nothing to do with society. I think it was more to do with the fact that my mom has this strange habit of, she makes up her mind about things very quickly, and usually she just takes the first information that she hears. And since I wasn't really talking about the incident and she got to talk to the young man about it, I think she just full-heartedly believed his side of the story, not because society tells you to believe men over women. At least my personal thoughts about victim blaming in the more familial sense is because most of the time people get molested by people they know, family, friends, and relatives. So I think a lot of people just don't want to admit that they invited a monster into their own home, and will find ways to justify it. I mean, just because it's a close family friend, you're not willing to think those kinds of thoughts about them. That's my thoughts on what happened with me anyways. So I started really thinking and questioning a lot of the whole society tells you to do this or that, and it just didn't seem to make sense anymore. And the more it unraveled, especially since I started then looking up feminist ideology and whatnots, the more I read, the more it just simply unraveled. And so it was more of a complete disillusion. It wasn't anything that I cried over or freaked out about. Just like I was a feminist in a sort of a passive way, I lost my feminism in a similar passive sense. That's about it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I wish all of you a pleasant rest of your day.